Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Waterloo Warriors weekly podcast. Alongside Allison and Joseph, my name is Cameron, and this week we will be discussing the importance of technology and digital culture in shaping our identities. And here today, we will be specifically chatting about a platform that has definitely shaped our lives as youths, YouTube. Now, let's begin with a summary of the platform. Here we'll have Allison giving us a rundown on what YouTube is, who founded it, and when it was created.
So to start off, the platform is a site dedicated to creativity of creators and users. It houses some of the greatest content on the internet, ranging from gameplay to our gameplay of our favorite brain-solving video games to DIYs and educational videos, and has become a platform for creators and viewers alike to find a place of community and belonging where nothing is off limits and we can truly be our authentic selves. The site was created by Chad Hurley and Steve Chen. They were co-workers and while out to dinner in February of 2005 realized that the internet was a place that was fairly accessible to upload a picture but not a video. The background on these guys is extensive, but a general background on their education is necessary to understand how they created such a groundbreaking platform. To start off, Chen came to the USA from Taiwan when he was 8. He studied computer science at the University of Illinois, while Hurley obtained a degree from the University of Pennsylvania. Fun fact, he was the first graphic designer of PayPal from 1999 to 2002. He took care of programming and codes, while Hurley produced a look for this site that would be appealing to customers. The two were former coworkers, and Jawed Karim, they got him to do the programming for YouTube. The site had to be essentially two things: easy for a person with minimal computer skills to navigate and would not require any specific software to upload the video. The official launch was in November of 2005, but the first video uploaded was on April 23rd of 2005, titled Me at the Zoo, uploaded by Karim himself. Within the year of the launch, the platform had some major milestones, which were $11.5 million investment, 65K videos being uploaded daily, 100 million views per day, 20 hours of videos being uploaded per minute. At one time, my personal favorite, Justin Bieber, held the most viewed video for his music video, Baby, and was overtaken by some videos since then called Baby Shark, currently hold the title. Some honorable mentions are Despacito, See You Again, Shape of You, Gangnam Style, Uptown Funk, Sorry by Justin Bieber again, Shake It Off. As you can see, YouTube has been monumental for the world of social media and influenced our generations in newer platforms such as TikTok. The value of video originated on YouTube, but has in turn influenced other platforms using video to relay humor, messages, and information in reels such as stories, shorts, and TikTok. The question is, why was it developed and how did it get to where it is?
Yeah, so as Allison explained, it was developed in 2005. At that time on the internet, video sharing was very difficult and inconvenient. You could either post a video on your own website or you could send emails directly to people containing the video. This presented a couple of problems that people would have to work around, including dealing with a large file size. This would lead to compression and poor video quality. So Chen, Hurley, and Karim eventually, they started YouTube originally as a video dating site in 2005. Those were non-existent beforehand, and they thought that might be a good idea. The idea didn't actually gain any traction at first, and they eventually decided to switch to be just a general video site. So by that time, they posted their first video, like Allison mentioned, the Me at the Zoo by Karim. So over the years, YouTube has progressed in many ways. At first, they struggled to keep up with the rapid growth of their users, so they began outsourcing to Google for help. After Google failed their own attempt at a video platform called Google Video, they bought YouTube and have owned them since. So in terms of functionality and layout, year by year they've made minor adjustments to increase and better the user experience. In 2006, the Chad Hurley, who was the CEO at the time, actually claimed that they thought there were better ways for people to engage in brands than forcing them to watch a commercial before the content. But as everyone knows, eventually they did introduce ads only 2 years later. In that same year, they reached agreements with movie and TV show production studios to allow these movies and shows to be uploaded directly to YouTube to be rented or bought. Other features like auto captioning through voice recognition. They changed their 5-star rating system to a like and dislike system. They've introduced premium services like YouTube Music and YouTube Premium to get rid of those ads that they introduced. And live streaming, and now actually stories and reels. These seem to be imitating the short video style on other platforms like TikTok, now Instagram, Facebook. It seems like everyone's trying to get into this. So throughout these progressions and developments, YouTube is now the second most popular site in the world, and is only behind Google. So a couple of questions I have for you guys to discuss is, do you think a platform similar to YouTube would have been developed in its place if it never got made by Hurley and Kareem and Chen? Because I personally think it was bound to happen, something like YouTube. Like I said, there were many inconveniences with sharing these videos, and it seemed like something people latched onto really quickly once it was introduced. So it seemed like maybe there could have been other developers who were thinking of it and just never got to it first.
I personally think TikTok is very similar to YouTube. YouTube obviously has the longer scale videos, but TikTok, with the diminishing of attention spans, obviously with
Right.
generations, I think TikTok has really played on the fact that it's smaller in time frame, whereas YouTube is like 15-20 minutes. TikTok is like 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
And it really plays on the lack of attention
Yeah, that's
on
true.
kids.
There are also short videos and like really
That's
long
true, yeah.
videos on YouTube as well. But relating to like being developed, I still think these like TikTok and like these new platforms, they might have developed like eventually, but I still think they're like offshoots of YouTube. Like YouTube inspired this like generation of like consuming so many videos.
It definitely, the value of video came from YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's kind of like playing on that, and
Yeah.
I think YouTube's like the OG of
Yeah.
video
Yeah.
creation.
Yeah, for sure.
That leads to my next question, actually. Do you think YouTube could ever be replaced? Do you think like another site could take over in terms of being the most popular video sharing, or do you think it'll ever be kicked off of the like top 10 popular sites list?
I don't think so. I think that's the beauty of social media in general. They all have their own specific things to them that they have, their own quirks. And I think YouTube has its own specific ones, whereas TikTok has the trends and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
where Instagram has the stories and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's really the beauty of social media, is that they're all different. So I don't think so.
Yeah. Another thing related to that, it's actually interesting because like we're starting to see cross-platform like reposting too. Like you'll see TikToks
Yeah.
and Instagram Reels repost on YouTube, or like YouTube linked in Instagram or TikTok clips.
Yeah, the funny thing about
It's
that
like
is
they feed off of
yeah.
each other.
the TikToks are posted 3 months, and then like 3 months later the Instagram Reels come out. So there's definitely a time delay between TikTok and Instagram, but I think they are very connected to that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's mainly just a reaction to what's popular and what's more or less common within society. Obviously, just like the major rise of TikTok, and like Joseph mentioned, just like the cross kind of implementation of all these specific concepts that exist within these apps. They're all kind of like compiling into one. And YouTube is just obviously so iconic. It has its own place in pop culture in itself. And going back to your initial question on whether it can be replaced or anything like that, I honestly don't think that it could be, it's too
Fundamental.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's sharing videos, consuming them. It's as simple as that. I think that it's so mainstream within our lives. It's so highly accessible and consumable and relevant it's been that way really since 2005, and that's still only ever growing.
Yeah, that leads me into asking you to explain, what do you think about the social and societal implications of YouTube?
Well, yeah, for sure. As I just touched upon, it is the world's largest video sharing platform. Millions globally are using it every single day. It certainly has its positive aspects. It's just this big portal of information and entertainment, kind of binding as one. Whatever you type, in the search bar, they say, there's a saying, there's an app for that, there's a YouTube video for that. But obviously, with pros come cons, as that's the same for any social media platform. And there are many different social and societal implications of using the platform. And, for example, it goes back to, sort of your traditional media. So before, YouTube existed, video sharing platforms, people had traditional media, and that's really all they had in terms of, viewing entertainment. So, your TV shows, your movies, the news, those are the only mediums in terms of visuals that could reach, an audience through a screen. And even then, until YouTube's inception, video content had never been spread so frequently on an everyday basis on an online platform, globally. It formed an online community into which visual content could be shared and consumed. Again, as I mentioned, information and entertainment sort of binding as one. Its inception promoted democracy among its users, as well as equality by giving everyone a chance to put their content out there, as it's obviously highly accessible to anyone. And in my mind, again, that's what makes YouTube great. Like, it's a bunch of people coming together, their various interests, the topics in which they want to talk about. They all come together, and you can really find something that caters to yourself, but also another individual can find something that caters to them. And another example of, say, a positive implication is that YouTube also gives a voice to people. It gives a voice to even more vulnerable groups in society. And it helps spread awareness for their causes. It gives them a space where they can talk about that, where they wouldn't have been able to before, per se. An example I thought of was the Me Too movement. Women were encouraged to share their stories and voice their opinions through mediums such as YouTube. There was a huge sort of strength in numbers, and I don't know if YouTube knew this, but in terms of the hashtag Me Too, it's tied to over 76,000 videos on the platform, and as influential of a message as that is, YouTube has been major in growing that message for thousands of women affected, and it helps bring those responsible to justice, and sort of transitioning from encouraging others to speak out, and voice their thoughts to government. Did you guys also know that from the Pew Journalism Research Center, they discovered that 21% of all YouTube videos relate to politics in some form?
That's pretty high.
Yeah, that is really high.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, people every day are collaborating, liking, and sharing videos. They're pushing governments to do their duties. Overall, it has a stake in improving society for sure. But as I touched on at the start, in doing that, there are also negative implications as well to the platform. For example, obviously the idea of becoming viral on YouTube is extremely prominent. Many people will become celebrities through the platform, and even more will fail as well. Those who achieve millions of views and subscribers will turn it into a career, which ultimately encourages other people to try and achieve that same fame. But so few do in the greater scheme of things, and it can definitely generate false hope for people who hope for that instant success, and it takes years to reach the top. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. It can definitely affect say, like the average user's mental health in per se when they're trying to attain that sort of fame. And, you know, also in addition, and I'm talking more about, you know, people who do achieve that sort of fame. You know, we all know that YouTube's a major marketing giant as well. You know, whenever we click on a video, Joseph also touched on this before too, you know, we come across ads. And, you know, when creators often start out, you know, they're expressing opinions, their certain interests, obviously, often challenging commercialism in a way. And it's quite ironic because, you know, once creators attract a larger audience over time, they'll begin to acquire and attract a more commercial aspect to their content, which obviously leads to their viewers becoming, in my mind, more skeptical and sort of questioning their genuineness. Like, you know, are they pumping out this content, you know, because they love it, or is it, you know, are they thinking about that commercialism? Is it all for the paycheck in a way? And, you know, finally on YouTube, you know, it can, and another example is that, you know, there's plenty of content that involves makeup tutorials and beauty products. There are, you know, a lot of channels on YouTube with high quality videos and images, and celebrities that promote products to improve their outward appearance. And this causes viewers, especially young girls, to have an unreasonable view of what true beauty is. It can lead to negative body image, you know, where they're focused on comparing their appearance to unrealistic ideals, low self-esteem. It can create a mindset that there's a certain way that someone's supposed to look, creates an ideal appearance when, you know, it's really more important to just be yourself and be happy with your own appearance. So, you know, off those points, and I touch upon in terms of cause and effect, do you two believe that the overall positive benefits of YouTube outweigh, you know, the negatives in terms of distributing and receiving information and content?
Regarding the commercialization, like, yeah, even beyond the ads, they're sponsors. So then a lot of like these YouTubers who are making their living off of YouTube, they'll include like their sponsors message at the start of their video, so it'll take up even more of the viewer's time. But in terms of separating like doing what they love versus doing it for the paycheck, I think they're not mutually exclusive, because obviously, well, not obviously, a lot of people's goals in life is to find a job that they enjoy doing, and a job that brings joy to others. And for some people that can be YouTube. So I think it's not always the case that it'll discourage their viewers to watch them, but it's just a fact of life that they need to make a living, and that's the method they chose.
Yeah, I think for me, watching YouTubers as a kid, the ads were frustrating, but I also understood that these guys need to make a living too, and these ads pay big time money for channels such as James Charles or Shane Dawson to promote their product, and in truth, it really does help the company and the product. So I think it is kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's necessary for everybody involved.
Yeah. Yeah, and in terms of the spreading for awareness, all these movements, there's like huge pros. Like the capacity of video sharing can lead to so many movements, like as we discussed in our digital lives class recently, like digital citizenship and citizen journalism. YouTube can play a huge part in that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So yeah, in general, I think that in my opinion, the pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening as we spoke about YouTube and its massive history, development, and impact. This has been Waterloo Warriors Weekly and Technology, and we will see you next week.